20-year-old Filipino tennis star Alex Eala has sent Melbourne Park crowds into an absolute frenzy.
She's got a lot of global stardom to her. She's had some incredible results and she's beaten players like Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek, so she's the real deal already.
The clay courts of Madrid were already buzzing, cameras repositioning, journalists are leaning forward. Something was shifting inside Caja Magica, and the media could feel it before anyone could explain it. Then she walked in. Her arrival stopped everything. Not Sabalenka, not Swiatek, a 20-year-old from the Philippines, a girl whose ranking had been bleeding for weeks. World number 45, down from a career-high 29 just last month. 2 tournaments, 2 early exits. Linz went wrong, Stuttgart went worse. Leylah Fernandez dismantled her 6-1 in the opening set just 4 days ago. By every number on paper, she had no business making a statement here, but somewhere in Manila, phones were lighting up. Fans were sharing the draw. Entire comment sections were erupting in Filipino. Because they've watched Alex Eala before. They know what she's capable of on this exact surface. They remember what she did here 12 months ago against the most dominant clay court player on the planet. This wasn't a quiet entry. This was historic. And the moment she stunned this tournament wasn't when the first ball dropped. It was the second she walked through those doors. Subscribe right now, because what happens next on that red clay will change everything. The Madrid Open just got dangerous. The Madrid Open draws 96 players every single year, former champions, top seeds, players who have spent decades grinding on clay. And yet, the moment Alex Eala stepped into Caja Magica, something shifted in the atmosphere that no ranking could explain. To understand why her arrival hit the way it did, you have to go back exactly 12 months. April 2025, these same red courts. Eala walks out to face Iga Swiatek, then world number 2, a 5-time French Open champion, the undisputed queen of clay. Nobody gave Eala a realistic chance. She was a wild card entry, a promising name, a future project. Swiatek was supposed to close it out in straight sets and move on without breaking a sweat. Eala took the first set. She didn't win the match. The final scoreline read 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 in Swiatek's favor. But something had already happened that the scoreboard couldn't fully capture. A 19-year-old from the Philippines had walked onto one of the most pressurized clay courts in the world and made the best clay court player alive genuinely work for it. That second set wasn't a fluke, it was a signal. The media caught it, the tennis community caught it, and Swiatek herself, who had already felt what Eala could do after losing to her at the Miami Open quarterfinals just weeks earlier, knew exactly what she had been standing across from. That Miami win is worth pausing on. Because it wasn't just a victory, it was the moment Alex Eala announced herself to the entire sport. Swiatek, ranked number 2 in the world at that point, fell to a teenager who played with the kind of controlled aggression that seasoned professionals spend years developing. The Philippine fan base didn't sleep that night. They couldn't. Their girl had just beaten one of the greatest players of the modern era on a WTA 1000 stage. It was the kind of result that travels, the kind that gets replayed, dissected, and remembered. So when Eala walked back into Madrid in 2026, she wasn't walking in as the same player Swiatek had eventually outlasted 12 months ago. She was walking in as someone who had since climbed to a career-high world number 29, ranking in March 2026, the highest any Filipino player had ever reached in WTA Tour history. That number matters. It isn't just a personal milestone, it is a historic marker for an entire nation that has been watching this sport from the outside for decades, waiting for one of their own to crack the elite tier. But rankings are snapshots, and the snapshot heading into Madrid told a complicated story. After reaching that career-high 29, Eala's ranking began sliding. The points she had accumulated from deep runs the previous year started expiring. At the Miami Open in March 2026, she reached the round of 16 before losing to Karolina Muchova, a respectable result, but not enough to replace the 390 points she had earned at the same tournament in 2025 when she made the semifinals. The math was brutal. She dropped to number 45 almost immediately. Then the clay season started, and it started badly. Linz came first, the Upper Austria Ladies Open, a WTA 500 event, the kind of tournament where a player of Eala's caliber should at minimum be threatening the Later rounds. She won her first match against Julia Grabher. Then Yelena Ostapenko, ranked number 22 in the world, ended her run in the second round, 4-6, 5-7. Not a collapse, not an embarrassment, but not the momentum builder she needed. Stuttgart followed. The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, another WTA 500, another early opportunity to stack wins before Madrid. Instead, Leylah Fernandez met her in the first round and dismantled the opening set 6-1. Eala found more rhythm in the second, but Fernandez controlled the decisive moments and closed it out 6-4. 1 hour and 28 minutes. Done. 2 tournaments, 2 early exits. The cold streak was real, and the numbers confirmed it. Here is what made her arrival in Madrid so charged despite all of that. Context. Because anyone who had been genuinely paying attention understood that Eala's dip in form wasn't a collapse. It was the predictable friction of a young player navigating the most demanding stretch of the WTA calendar with an expiring points base and a ranking that had briefly outpaced where her consistency could sustain it. She reached number 29 fast, faster than almost anyone expected. The question was never whether she belonged there eventually. The question was whether she could hold it through the turbulence. Madrid was the answer waiting to happen. She had been training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca specifically for this clay swing. Her primary coach, Joan Bosch, had been working with her there since her junior days, building her game on the same surface, in the same conditions, under the same philosophy that produced the greatest clay court player in the history of men's tennis. That training background isn't incidental, it is structural. Eala doesn't just know how to play on clay, she has been engineered for it. The Madrid Open field she entered was not gentle. Aryna Sabalenka, defending champion, world number 1, 3-time Madrid winner, was back to protect her title. Iga Swiatek, the 2024 champion, was in the draw despite a difficult 2026 season that had seen her drop outside the top 10. Elena Rybakina, Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, Amanda Anisimova, Mira Andreeva. Every name on that list represented a genuine threat. The draw was constructed like a tournament that had no interest in being kind to anyone. And yet, the media erupted around Eala's inclusion in a way it didn't around several higher-seeded players. That asymmetry is telling. Tennis journalists don't manufacture drama around a world number 45 who has lost 2 straight first-round matches unless there is a legitimate reason to believe something significant is on the horizon. The attention she commanded at Caja Magica before a single ball was struck was not sentiment. It was recognition. Recognition of what she had already proven she was capable of, and recognition of what this specific tournament had come to represent in her developing story. Her history at Madrid stretches back to 2022, when she received a wild card to the qualifiers. Then came wild cards to the main draw in 2023, 2024, and 2025. Each year, she returned with a better ranking, a sharper game, and a deeper understanding of what it took to compete at this level. In 2026, she didn't need a wild card. She was in the main draw on merit. That progression from qualifier wild card to ranked direct entrant is the kind of historic arc that takes most players the better part of a decade to build. Eala built it in 4 years. What the media understood and what was fueling the noise around her arrival was that this tournament represented a genuine inflection point. She had already proven she could beat top 10 players. She had already proven she could take sets off the best clay court players alive. She had already proven that her presence on a WTA 1000 stage was not ceremonial. The missing piece, the piece that would permanently silence the remaining skeptics, was a deep run, a quarterfinal, a semifinal, something that said the Miami Magic wasn't a one-tournament story. The broader significance of what Eala represents for Philippine tennis cannot be overstated, and the media eruption around her Madrid entry was partly a reflection of that weight. The Philippines has produced talented athletes across multiple sports. Tennis at the WTA elite level had remained largely out of reach, until her. When she hit number 29 in March 2026, the reaction back home went beyond sports coverage. It touched something deeper, national. Newspapers led with it. Social media didn't just trend, it stayed trending for days. Because this wasn't just one player climbing a ranking. It was an entire country watching one of their own do something that had never been done before in their sporting history. That is what walks onto a tennis court with her every time she competes at this level. That weight, that pride, that expectation, and somehow, rather than visibly buckling under it, she has consistently found a way to channel it into something that resembles controlled fire on court. The clay ahead of her at Madrid is unforgiving. Red clay plays slower than hard courts, demands more physical endurance, rewards patience and tactical discipline over raw power. These are characteristics that favor experienced players who have spent years learning how to construct points on a surface that punishes impatience. Eala's game, built on aggressive ground strokes, sharp angles, and a competitive mentality that doesn't flinch under pressure, translates to clay in ways that aren't immediately obvious from watching her on hard courts. The Rafa Nadal Academy training gives her a baseline understanding of clay court construction that most players her age simply don't possess. The draw was set, the field was confirmed, the tournament was 2 days away, when her name in that main draw sent the media into the spiral that everyone watching from Manila to Madrid had been half expecting. Because they had seen this before, the quiet buildup, the underestimation. The moment where a player who looks like she's struggling suddenly finds a gear that reminds everyone exactly why the hype was real in the first place. Whether that moment arrives in the first round, the quarterfinals, or somewhere no one is currently predicting, that is the question that the arrival posed and refused to answer. That deliberate silence around what comes next is precisely what makes this statement so loud. She didn't need to win a match to stun the Madrid Open. She just needed to show up, ranked and ready, in a draw full of champions, with 12 months of growth separating her from the last time she stood on this court. The arrival was the statement. The tournament itself is the proof. French Open preparation is the stated goal. Rome follows Madrid in the schedule and Roland Garros begins May 18th. But the tennis world is watching Madrid specifically because it understands that what Eala does here will either confirm a return to form or extend a narrative about whether the heights of early 2026 were sustainable. Both storylines are compelling. Both demand attention. One thing is no longer up for debate. Alex Eala at a WTA 1000 clay event is not background noise, it is the headline. The media eruption that greeted her Madrid entry was not manufactured enthusiasm for a feel-good story. It was the legitimate recognition that a 20-year-old Filipino player, trained on Rafa Nadal's clay, seasoned by battles against the world's best, carrying the weight of historic expectation on her shoulders, had arrived at exactly the right tournament, at exactly the right moment, ready to make everyone remember why they started paying attention in the first place. The courts are red, the pressure is real, and Alex Eala is in the draw. If this video gave you the full picture that mainstream coverage keeps leaving out, subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification bell. Because every time Eala steps onto a court this clay season, we will be here breaking down every angle, every match, every moment that the highlights won't show you. This story is only getting bigger from here. Don't watch it from the outside.